I've started that now. Oh, I didn't say that last time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I'm also going to mute you guys just so that hopefully that you can just hear us better. But at the end, we'll take questions so you can come off mute then. I might mute you, Paul. And then if you have any questions, you can just put it in the chat at the bottom, like Mr. Coletti said as well. So, all right. So like I said, this isn't moving. Hold on.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
There we go. All right. So I'm Miss Palmer. This is just a little bit about me. You can read that later, and some of you might have already read it on the PowerPoint. I've been at Walden Lake. This is my 4th year at Walden Lake. So Mr. Clenny and I have been teaching together the whole time. This is moving very slowly today. Hold on. Hold on. There we go.
And that's me and my family, and there's a little bit about me. This is my 9th year here at Walden Lake, and Miss Palmer has been my longest tenured partner ever. We hit that crossroads last year, so I'm excited that she stayed with me and hasn't left me. And it's my 20th year in the classroom, so that's me. All right, so here we go. Attendance that first week of e-learning. All right, so next week, what we're going to do is we're just going to have a Zoom meeting. We're not taking it as a class time. We're not going to call it that. It's just going to be a Zoom meeting time. It's going to be a very informative, no, what's the word I'm looking for here? I just lost it.
Informal.
It's going to be an informal meeting time. It's the afternoon, sorry. So what we'll do is the night before, we'll send out maybe some questions to kind of to spur on some conversation. What you guys can do is if you have questions for us personally, you want to get to know us better about our families and things like that, ask away. We usually do that during the year anyway, so they can ask us questions, get to know us. But we'll also have a time where we'll ask out, okay, hey, maybe you have some academic questions or things that come up. We'll also go through some safety protocols. We'll kind of talk about procedures and kind of do a Q&A, get to know you time. Ms. Palmer will read one day, a story. One day I might just do a math facts game. So we're going to keep it very light next week, but it'll be from 10 to 10:30. If you check in and you join us for the Zoom every day, that counts as your attendance. If you're not going to join us for that Zoom, just email us or text us and say, hey, we're checking in for the day, but we won't be on the Zoom. That is fine. Everything we go over during the Zoom that week, we'll also reinforce that first week back at school. Just check in with us daily so we can have attendance and do that by 10:30 in the morning. And like I said, keep an eye out for emails. We communicate a lot. Some families know us from prior years. We will over communicate, but just keep an eye out for your emails, your texts, etc. That Smart Week, this right here, it's all about using the Canvas. If we do the e-learning at any point during the year, that's where Canvas is going to become super important. So kind of get yourself on that, kind of troubleshoot through it if we need any, you guys need any help. But there's that Canvas Family Guide link right there that you can use. We're learning it as you're learning it, so we're all going to have some good days with it and some not so good days with it and some stressful days with it. So we're all going to be learning as we go this year. So that'll be Canvas headed your way. All right, so brick and mortar, that's being on campus in class. I just like to know who came up with that name of brick and mortar. Just find that out for me. But again, just being here in school, attendance is vital, but we also know that if you're not feeling well, stay home. For this year to be the ultimate success of being on this campus in this classroom like we all wanted to be, if our ship, the Palmerettis, comes together and we all buy into sending the kids in healthy, we as staff coming in healthy, not playing any games with it, just, hey, bottom line, if you're not feeling well, stay home, because we want to get our 180 days, whatever it is, whatever number at the end of the day is. We want to be here. We want to be here on campus, learning together. So just, hey, be here. Now, we're not going to worry about attendance rewards. We're not going to, be like, hey, if you're here 100% of the time, because we don't want you coming in if you're not feeling well. We want to make this a successful year in campus, not having to close it down. And hopefully we all buy in. We come to school, we learn, we work, we have fun, and we go home and then get ready for each day.
So this is just some more information about Canvas. Like Mr. Coletti said, we're only using Canvas is if we ever have to switch to full-time e-learning. As the year goes on, we'll start adding a little bit more into it. But as far as the brick and mortar part, we're not going to be using it as the kids that are doing e-learning are. There's just some web pages that you can look at to get familiar with. We do ask you to log in and, kind of get your feet wet and see what it's like. And then you can ask us any questions and we can help you the best that we can. Like you said, we're learning it as well. We've become more familiar with it, but it's still something that we haven't been using for that long of period of time. So just log in, do the tutorials, make sure that you can actually access it and it's working. And if it's not, we'll be able to help you with that. And if we ever were to switch to e-learning, which hopefully we would not have to, but if we do, that's where all the assignments will be posted. That's where you will be able to get on and get information from us and communicate with us through Canvas. Since we're only doing the Smart Week for a week, the devices won't be handed out to students that are coming brick and mortar. What was I going to say? Oh, if you go on there, I've published my pages. So if it's working properly, you should be able to see the reading and writing class and be able to click it and go through it. So if you ever log in and you don't see it, just let me know so we can troubleshoot on my end.
And I have not published anything yet, so don't be like, hey, where's the math and science? So what else we got? All right, so here, arrival and dismissal for the safety of others, parents and visitors will not be allowed on campus to escort their child to the classroom at this time. Hopefully down the road, we get clearance to let you guys drop them off, walk them to class if that's what you choose. But right now, there's not going to be any of that on campus. We know why, safety protocols. Dress code, you can check out the handbook. Nothing's changed. Just if we get to an e-learning time, we're doing the Zoom next week. Try not to be in your pajamas unless you just do a headshot like this and you sit really close. But on campus, once we're here, boys and girls just dressing appropriately, those kind of things, common sense. So our expectations in the classroom, you can read it with me here. As Palmeretti's, we have high expectations. One thing that we do, we shoot for the stars. We want to set high expectations and do our best to meet them. We know some days we're going to fail to meet those expectations for that day, and we're going to drop the ball, pick it up, and run with it and do the very best we can. One thing that we promote in here is that we're a family, so we look out for one another. We know each day brings a different set of challenges, especially with this year being flexible and fluid. We know that we're all different and unique. So we talk. We have real talk with our kiddos. We don't hold anything back with them. We shoot straight with them. Our biggest thing is be respecting others, being kind, working hard. One thing that we do is we have what's called the 3 B's, behave, be good, and be awesome. It's one thing that we kind of ingrain with them all the time, and we just remind them of that. And that's kind of our expectations, and we add to that all the time as we just kind of talk with them and set things in front of them.
I saw in the chat someone asked where our classrooms are located. My room is room 230. It's on the side that faces the courtyard. And then Mr. Cletty is on the other side in room 237. It's right above the downstairs computer lab if the kids are familiar with it. Normally the kids, for safety protocols last year, would come in through my door, even if they were in Mr. Cletty's homeroom. This year, we haven't gotten clarification yet if they're going to be able to go through one classroom to get to another yet, but we'll keep you informed with that. But I'm room 230 and Mr. Cletty is room 237.
All right. What do we got next?
It's coming. It's got a circle.
Slow. Again, if you guys haven't typed in your first and last name, I've got Evan, Bryson, Kennedy, Jace, Brooks, Ethan, Becca, and Jalen. If anybody else is out there, please enter your name. Thank you.
So our first week back on campus, we're going to go over all the classrooms and procedures, and we'll start going over them next week as well. The word of the year is flexibility because things are constantly changing. So as we see things happen or not happen, we'll be flexible with those procedures. And like we've been saying, we'll keep you informed with anything that may or may not be changing. So one of the procedures we're implementing, and again, this is not like a mandate or requirement, but Mr. Cletty and I were just brainstorming things that we thought we could do in the classroom to help us hopefully stay brick and mortar all year and prevent germs and things coming back and forth from multiple different places. So one of our ideas is to leave the backpacks at school. So when they come into the classroom, Mr. Coletti and I are the ones that are switching this year, not the kids. So when I'm done with reading and writing with one group, I will switch and go to Mr. Coletti's room and teach reading and writing over there. And he will do the same for math and science. So the desk that the kids are sitting at, it's going to just be there. So the materials that are in there are theirs. Books, anything that they have, they're not going to be sharing. It'll be just their certain area. So we don't have to worry about kids sharing materials. So they'll leave their backpack at school is one of our ideas. Again, if you want to take it home, we just ask that you clean it and sanitize it before coming back to school, just again, to keep things, as clean as possible. But they can leave their backpack at school on the chair with all their materials in it. With lunch boxes, another idea we had is to have lunches in a disposable bag so that when they're done eating, if they're bringing it from home, they can just throw it away and not have to, worry about having a permanent lunch bag. But again, if you want to have your regular lunch bag, we just ask to wash and clean them daily. The water fountains are not going to be available this year to use. So you can send in a reusable water bottle. They are going to be giving us bottled water that you can pour into the water bottles. You can bring in your own disposable bottled water. We also, Mr. Clenny and I purchased, or we've had people donate to us water bottles so that if they want their own personal one, we can write their name on it and they can just keep it at school as well. Or they can just drink out of the bottled water that the school provides us. So those are just some of the ideas that we've personally come up with for the classroom to try to help stay as healthy as possible. Again, these aren't mandates or requirements or rules. It's just some ideas that we have.
And just make sure your name is on everything.
Oh, did I forget that? Sorry.
Yep.
And going along with the backpack thing, we're not going to be sending any homework home this year. So in years past, we've sent home like a reading log, and Mr. Coletti sent home math pages. So this year, we're not going to be sending home any homework. So they'll be doing that kind of work in class where we'll be able to just help and support them. But that's, again, trying to minimize sending things home and going multiple places. So in place of work being sent home, some ideas that we have of work that they can do at home, they can read their books, whether it's from the media center, they can just keep that book at home, or books you have at home. If you have access to technology, they can read books on Mayan. A lot of times I'll group books together that have to do with science, or Mr. Coletti will send home books that they can read on Mayan for science. They can also do reading or math lessons on iReady. So that's in place of sending home like physical workbooks and papers and things like that. See if there's any. Mr. Coletti and I have been talking about that, about how we're going to be communicating. We used to have the kids write an agenda, and that's how we would be communicating back and forth. So we were talking about perhaps sending out a daily email. We're still kind of going through all that. Do you want to add on to that? We're trying to figure out the best way to do that.
Yeah, we've kind of come down with two ways that we're going to try to figure it out. What we would normally do with an agenda, we would daily have the kids write in it what was happening that day. So when you got home and you saw it, you would sign off on it. We're either going to do an agenda for the week to where we show you what we're going to do for that entire week. Again, that could change as we go and change things. Or it might be where we send out a daily agenda. Once we kind of get into how things are going, we'll communicate that to you to sit there and say, okay, hey, here's the agenda for the week. Here's what's happening in math, science, reading, and writing. And that way you have daily communication, or you know what's happening on that day.
And there's also some apps that I was looking at as well. So we're trying to figure out the best way to communicate to you, but also minimize the amount of like transfer papers and materials and things like that. And it says, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just was answering the question. You can do it. It's fine.
All right. I mean, you could build on, JC, yeah, I'd say bring a backpack because you're going to have, your stuff in it those first days, all your supplies. After that, if we get to a place where we're not needing the backpack, we can send it home, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's Seesaw, and I know there's like Remind app and then another app. So that's another thing that we're considering as well to make it, in years past too, we would call if we needed to, or parents would call if there was any concerns too. So we're trying to figure out the best way to communicate. So that's what we're looking at as well. Oh, sorry. I gotta move the chat box.
What do we got? Curriculum.
So these are books that we'll be using for and programs for the curriculum. So the first one for ELA is iReady. So this year, the core curriculum is going to be based on iReady and this workbook with text and standards and strategies. There's also the computerized iReady, which they've been using for a few years now. Journeys was the core curriculum last year, and it's being replaced by iReady, but I will still be using Journeys to supplement and do different activities and lessons with. Achieve 3000 is also new. It's a computer program that they use as well to practice their reading skills, but it's also something that I can pull articles from for reading and writing. And then that is our social studies book.
And then below that, you see our math books. The main one we use is that first one on the left side with the Envision with the manatee on it. There's a couple of those books. One is what I call the colored pages, which is our classwork. And then there was black and white pages, which I considered homework, but we'll be tackling those all in class. Then the iReady is something that you can do, 20, 25, 30 minutes at home, whatever, 15 minutes math, get on your iReady. And then that iReady book is something that ties in with it with some supplemental resources. And then that's our main science book that we'll be working through. I send home a lot of my own books through emails and communication. Also, some websites that they can go to, be it through YouTube or just some links that I'll send. But trying to make the science not just in the textbook, but also hands-on, and then in class doing some STEM and work like that and figuring out a game plan for that. Special days. All right, and field trips. Well, as of right now, we know field trips are on hold. Our goal is to try to have as many special days blended in as these kids work hard and earn it. And we're still trying to kind of figure out how we want to work special days and having some fun things like that. So that's going to, again, as each day goes by, figuring out a game plan. Birthdays, we know we love to celebrate those days, and you guys love to celebrate those days, and we will do our best to make those days special. I'd say right now, hold off on sending any snacks or treats, but that first week back, we kind of set up our birthday calendar, figure out when birthdays are, and then we'll kind of go from there. But as each day goes by and we figure out things, we'll let you know. But that's our plans with special days and field trips. Classroom, gosh, I can't see, I gotta move it. Classroom schedule. Basically, we'll get more information as the weeks go, but what it's looking like is that our specials, you'll see that in a moment, are gonna be first thing in the morning, and then we'll have either a reading and writing block and a math and science block, and then we'll go to lunch. Then after lunch, if they had math and science first, they'll have reading and writing second, and vice versa. And at the end of the day, we will have teacher PE, and then we head to dismissal. So that's what our schedule will look like. We're still ironing that out, but right now it's getting closer and closer to looking like that. Lunch, there you go, 10:40 to 11:10. Last night it was to be determined, and we got that it was there. So it's now a nice little lunch brunch time, so pack accordingly. And there go the special schedules. Right now you see that the only blip on that radar is Thursdays, but we'll start our learning beforehand, go to specials, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday will look very similar, except Mondays, some of those days will be early release days, as we talk about that in the next slide coming up soon.
So this is the health and safety side. And like we've said previously, if you're not feeling well, just stay home and just communicate with us that you're not feeling well or whatever it might be. And we will work out with you to make up the work when you get back, to make up the work while you're out, whatever it may be. But again, if you're not feeling well, just stay home and let us know. If the student comes to school and does not feel well or throughout the day doesn't feel well, we'll send them to the clinic. The nurse will evaluate them and then contact you with information after they've done that. As you've seen and know, students are required to wear a mask. So we ask just to make sure you clean them daily. Also, maybe bring an extra mask to school in case there is a need. And also, if a student forgets a mask, we will have disposable masks here to use for that day in case the mask is forgotten. Also, just review and practice how to wear the mask over your nose, under your chin. I know for myself, I started wearing it and practicing it before I came to work just because I wasn't wearing it daily because I was just at home. So something just to make it a little bit more comfortable. We'll also incorporate mask breaks throughout the day where they'll be able to go outside and walk around and make sure to take their mask off and take a break from that too. We are going to be social distancing throughout the day. We've set up our classroom to make sure that there's space in between all the kids to keep them at a distance. And as always, Mr. Clennan always about this, but especially now, just making sure to wash their hands with soap, use hand sanitizer, keep their hands away from their face. If they have their own mini hand sanitizer, they can always bring it to school and keep it in their desk. Like I said before, their desk is in their area is just going to be their own, so they don't have to worry about people, sharing a desk like they maybe have in the past. Let's see if there were questions.
One thing I
Okay.
know that we were asked is snacks. We will have a snack time. Just make sure it's a healthy snack, and it doesn't have to a Ziploc with some things in it. Doesn't have to be a big old crazy bag of, Takis or anything like that, but just a nice healthy snack. And just a reminder, like I said, if we're all, in on this together and just making sure that these Palmerettis of ours, all of us together, take care of our business. Our goal is to be here. What you got?
Hopefully something. Oh. And this is just in case we ever have to switch to distance learning. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because, as you know, right now we're coming back and that's the plan. But this is just a slide in case we do have to ever switch to e-learning, some tips and tricks to help you and your students and be as successful as possible if we ever do have to switch to e-learning or distance learning. Is this me? Okay. So excuse me, make sure to screen the kids before they come to school. Make sure they're feeling okay. They don't have a temperature, because if a student comes to school not feeling well with the temperature, they'll have to go to the nurse, and then we'll have to contact you. And again, just making sure that they have their masks when they come to school and that they're being worn properly. This is a supply list for the classroom. And at the bottom, it says things we always could use: hand sanitizer, Clorox wipes, Lysol spray tissues. We have a good supply of it right now. Every time I see it on Amazon, whenever it's there, I make sure to purchase it. But we know as the year goes on, we may be, dwindling with those supplies. So if you ever have any of those that you could donate to the classroom, we'd appreciate it. And then this is the e-learning list. And we just have this on here, but honestly, don't worry about it for right now. The really only difference would be a dry erase board and a dry erase marker, but those aren't things that you need right now because we are going to be brick and mortar. So I just wanted to make this list available just so you would know the only differences on it in case we ever did have to switch to e-learning.
And dismissal, we're still waiting on further instructions of how it's going to look on campus going from the classrooms to where our destinations are. Mondays right now are supposed to be locked in as early release days, but we know that the county is still trying to iron out those dates. So we know we're probably going to lose some of those early release dates down the road on Mondays. For now, we know that those dates right there and Labor Day, those are set in stone as far as early release days. Who knows how solid that stone is? We'll find out. Tuesday through Friday, dismissal is 1:55. Early release days on Mondays would be 12:55. What we're asking, I sent that email out about how your child is going home transportation-wise. Just let us know by that Friday the 28th so we're prepared. And then if anything changes, stay in communication. We know different families have different things going on. So it might be 1 week in here, 1 week in there. As those dates are coming, just communicate to us. Let us know, be it, again, a note to us, an email to us, a text to us, or just sending in a calendar. So that's dismissal.
And this already happened. So I just had that in there for before.
Right. And then that's our AGP gifted teachers, Miss Van Oosten and Miss Pettit, and they'll be servicing AGP. And our next slide is our SOS Solomon Sibley crew with Miss Hitton and Miss Sutton. Guidance counselors, they're there for any help that students might have, need to talk or anything like that. There's our contact information. You can text us, you can email us. Those Zoom meeting IDs will be the same ones throughout the year. We will contact you and let you know, hey, we're going with Miss Palmer's Zoom meeting ID, or if it's my Zoom meeting ID, we will stay in contact with you. One thing you'll find out with us is We communicate a lot, be it daily, be it weekly. We will be in touch with you. Just reply as soon as you can and stay in touch. And as this year gets underway, we are excited to be back on campus and back into the classrooms. Our goal is to be here, to be present, to be learners. And for that to happen every day, we all need to do our part to make this a successful year. 2020, 2021 adventure awaits for the Palmerettis, so make sure to do your part. So, any questions as we open up the floor? Type away or raise your hand. All right. You guys all look so excited. Well, I hope you guys are excited. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to be back. I know the parents will give me 2 thumbs up. I know they're ready. That's right. Awesome. So over the coming days, if you have any questions, all right. If you have any questions, please reach out and ask us. Feel free, shoot us a message. We will be in touch with you about next week and how we're, throwing some things at you to be prepared for. And if you don't have any questions, Ms. Palmer, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Any questions?
Anybody? Bueller? All right, you guys. Well, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to come back. A salute to you. All right, you guys. We'll have a good next few days, and we will be in touch. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Take it easy. Bye, everybody.
Bye.